why homework needs to be banned. People, what up? What's good? It's your boy TwoCentz. As y'all can see, man, we have a very interesting topic that I feel like we can all relate to, man. From the Humanity channel, we've all been to school. I don't know where you're at in your journey. I don't know how far you got along, right? High school diploma, college diploma, right? Point is, we've all been to school, and nobody likes homework, right? I can say with 100% confidence that I haven't met a single person in life that has enjoyed doing homework assignments. Now, here's what I'll say before we get into it, right? I don't know if I necessarily agree that it needs to be banned. I mean, this is definitely a title to elicit a reaction, right? But it definitely needs to be, the education system needs to be updated, right? There's so many assignments that I remember doing, you know, throughout high school and even unfortunately throughout college, which I had to pay for, that didn't teach me anything, or that were just a complete waste of time, you know. And obviously homework has its benefits, right? Like it helps you with structure and that sort of thing. But, you know, ultimately it's just not, you know, it just doesn't seem effective. It's not fun to do, and you know. But that's enough out of me before we get started. Now let's get into it, man.
Finland has some of the highest academic scores in the world and outperforms almost every other country. You want to know how much homework these students do? The teenagers do 3 hours a week and the kids get 0. So maybe we don't need to be doing so much homework.
Yeah, we don't need to be doing so much homework, you guys. I heard the statistic of, and you know what, we might as well just research it right now. How many times does a person change their career in life? Right, y'all, let's do some research live, bro. 5 to 7 times. So what I'm trying to say is, you guys, we spend so much time doing homework that we don't enjoy, that we don't like, trying to figure out, you know, at what point does this clown need to jump off a Ferris wheel in order to fall into a moving bucket of water and not die, right? We spend so much time doing stuff like that to the point where we can't figure out what we're interested in doing with our actual lives, bro. Obviously, people are multi-layered, so it's natural that you're going to change your career anyways, because, you know, even doing something that you enjoy every day can get old. But at the same time, bro, at least allow me to figure out what it is that I like to do. You know, instead of, okay, we learned for 20 minutes, we wasted time with the projector and the internet trying to get this stuff to work in class. So we spent 20 minutes out of the 90 minutes learning. Now go ahead and spend 4-5 hours doing the homework. Yeah, y'all, it's the system is just not right.
Maybe homework is actually hurting our education. That's right, hurting. And this isn't just my opinion. This claim is backed up by scientific research. If our schools and colleges stop giving homework, our societies will see drastic improvements in intellect and education. And if you don't believe me,
so what's happening then? I seen Stanford. I'm not gonna rewind, but like, if we have the evidence that getting rid of homework will improve everyone's life, right? It'll probably save a whole bunch of paper and, you know, so on and so forth. Why is it still in our education system, bro? Why do we still have so much? Let's let bro tell us.
you will by the end of this video. A student shouldn't be doing hours and hours of work. Work is meant for the office. Work is meant for the salaryman doing their 9 to 5. A student is not a worker. A student goes to school to learn, not work,
right?
Which is exactly why homework hinders learning. A study published by the American Psychological Association found that time spent on homework had a negative correlation to standardized test scores. Students who were assigned more homework performed worse on these tests than students assigned less homework. It sounds crazy, I know. But if you think about it, the less time a student spends on homework, the more time they can spend on actually studying and learning. Let's say there's a calculus class, and the teacher assigns derivative problems for homework. For the students who already understand how to do derivatives, they won't learn anything new from this homework. It's busy work for them. That's not education. And for students who don't understand derivatives,
yeah, you guys, like I took pre-calc, I took trigonometry. I don't remember anything. I cannot find the angle of a triangle or an octagon that's oddly shaped anymore, bro. I don't remember any of this. You know, I don't even, I can't think of a formula. You know what I'm saying? Again, bro, I can't calculate when the man has to jump into the moving Ferris wheel at 30 miles per hour into the bucket. I don't remember any of it.
What is this? They'll be stuck trying to figure out how to solve these problems, and they won't learn anything. That's not education.
Right.
So it's a lose-lose for everyone. Nobody benefits from this homework. Some people will say if students don't understand how to do it, they can search online for help. Then why the are we even going to school if we're just going to have to teach ourselves anyways? If a school system is good, a student should be able to rely solely on their school and teacher to teach them.
Right.
Homework doesn't help us learn. Schools need to assign resources that actually help students learn at home. I'll explain how later in the video. If the homework is just to read a book or watch a few videos, then that's fine. I agree that's considered learning, but being forced to answer endless worksheets and writing long essays, that's not. A common point that people bring up is that homework helps students memorize information, like we're walking hard drives or something. Look, students don't need hundreds of practice problems to understand and memorize a concept. At that point, it's just mindless unpaid labor. All they need is a few practice problems that are thoroughly explained to them, which is exactly why work needs to be done in class, not at home.
But here's another issue, you guys. School is a lot more. I feel like it's a lot more than just a place where we're supposed to be learning, right? It's a daycare, you know. Because it aligns with the 9-to-5 work schedule. So it's a daycare. It's where you go to learn how to make friends, how to communicate with people. You know, structure, like I said. It's such a, hold on, y'all. Check out the vocabulary. It's such a multifaceted institution. Hold on. Y'all didn't expect that. To the point where it's hard to, I feel like it's hard to, know exactly how much homework people should be doing and like what to teach. But at the same time, you guys, they have the studies, they have the statistics. So the people in charge need to figure that out, not me, man. I got some other stuff going on.
My teachers gave me atrocious amounts of homework that involved writing essays, research papers, and solving countless math and science problems.
Yeah.
At this point, just hand over my W-2 already. What am I memorizing by doing all these things?
Nothing.
What am I learning? Again, it's either pointless busy work or excessively challenging where I can't make any progress and have to teach myself. There's nothing in between. It's no wonder why the best performing education systems in the world give little to no homework. South Korea is ranked the #1 best education system. Denmark ranks 2nd best. Belgium is 4th best. Slovenia is 5th best. And these countries all assign very little homework.
I don't know if I believe that about South Korea, bro. I've heard way too much negative stuff about the education system over there, to the point where that's literally all kids do is study so that they can get into a top 3 university. I'm gonna call cap on that, but I haven't done the research, and bro clearly did because he made his video, but that still doesn't sound right to me, bro.
Even less than an hour a day. You might be thinking, South Korea?
Right.
Isn't that the country where students are literally unaliving themselves from being overworked?
Bro.
And yes, you're right. However, these students are overworked because of long school hours, cramped schools, and self-studying.
Okay. All right, he got me.
Not because of homework. South Korean students actually receive around 3 hours of homework a week, just like in Finland, which is significantly less than the USA.
Got it.
Think about that. This is a country that doesn't give a single crap about students' mental health and overworks them to death. But homework? Nah, that's crossing the line. And that's a big reason for why South Korea and other countries I've mentioned have such high academic scores. So maybe if we want our countries to perform better, we need to stop giving so much homework and focus more on actual learning. Teachers should still provide homework, but it needs to be optional. Just a small boost for those who want the extra practice. But students should not be punished for not doing homework. And Christ, students definitely should not be punished for turning in homework late. That's a war crime. Our school system should be rewarding the students who understand the knowledge being taught. It's really that simple. If the student understands the information well, they should get a good score. The same way an employee who understands the job well should be hired. That's just how our society should function. So if a student clearly understands the information they've learned, then who cares if they did their homework or not? You already know that this student is adequate in their academic knowledge, so stop dragging them down.
My thing is this, like, so how do we measure whether we understand the concepts or not? You know? That's the only thing about it. Right? Like, okay, y equals mx plus b. I just randomly remembered that formula. What is that? To find a slope? Okay, I get it. Prove it. How do we prove it without, being forced to do a billion practice problems? Again, it's not, I'm just trying to help y'all understand what I'm thinking. But again, it's not my responsibility, bro. Hopefully, send this to a teacher.
Very common occurrence that students do very well on their class projects and exams, but their grade gets lowered because they didn't spend enough time on homework. That is atrocious. Homework should not dictate a student's final grade. At the same time, many students put zero effort and do horribly on their class projects and exams. But because they use ChatGPT and plagiarize a lot of information from the internet, they get good scores on their homework and end up with a passable grade in that class. Yes, I'm looking at you. And this is the behavior that school systems are encouraging by assigning lots of homework. Do we want to grade students based on how well they actually know the information, or grade them based off the pointless busy work they get assigned? Homework gives students a lot of stress. 70% of high school students who took hard classes said they were often or always stressed over schoolwork.
It's nothing, and we all relate. It's nothing like waking up at 5, going to morning practice, right? Trying to get to morning practice by 7, and then sitting through, school from 8 to 3, and then you got an after school program or a basketball game or whatever, and then you get home at 7, and then you got to do 4 hours of homework, y'all. I don't know how I'm still alive.
With 56% listing homework as
I'm done with school, by the way. High school graduate, college graduate, man. Don't play with me.
a primary stressor. From my personal experience, I had trouble sleeping sometimes because I would overthink from schoolwork, thinking about all the assignments I had yet to finish, or about any potential mistakes I may have made on previous assignments. This stress from homework will hurt our productivity in other areas of our student life, like studying for tests or extracurricular activities. And look, I'm not claiming that students in the US are overworked. American teenagers are some of the laziest organisms on this planet. But when all our homework does nothing for us except load us with stress, it doesn't help our situation. It actually makes it even worse. We could spend that time doing productive learning and activities that help us in the long run if we weren't given so much homework. I'm a big believer that stress is a good thing. I believe that all the good things in life are worth the grind, and you definitely should challenge yourself. But if stress is there for absolutely no reason and it doesn't benefit you, then it's just not worth it. If we look at this from the bigger perspective,
and you might say, and I agree with what he's saying, and you might say, but what if you do want to become an engineer? Then, this math class is actually going to be helpful. Or I can, be offered or be taught something that's, financial algebra instead of calc. And then once I graduate high school, And I know that I want to become an engineer because I've had the time to explore my interests, and I've actually learned things that could apply to my real life while I was in school. Then, now that I graduated high school and my brain is a little bit more developed, then I can take calculus in college and all the, advanced math in college, and understand it a little bit better, and also take it because I want to take it, right? Pause. Rather than being forced to, again, bro, jump off the Ferris wheel and land in the bucket.
If having homework does not lead to more educated and intellectual societies. When we're forcing the youth to mindlessly complete busy work, what does that do for their intellect, creativity, knowledge, or curiosity? All of that time wasted on homework could have been spent on real, authentic learning and watching Dumanity videos, which you can support the creation of by subscribing and joining my Patreon.
Yes, sir.
Homework doesn't prepare kids for college. Homework doesn't help a student with their AP exams, SAT, college essays, or extracurricular activities. It doesn't prepare kids for getting a job and the real world. Some might argue that it teaches them responsibility and hard work, but there are a million ways to teach a kid that. They can learn that from sports, chores, getting a part-time job, joining a club, community service. Homework is the least productive way to teach them that life lesson. We already discussed how students who get assigned less homework perform better academically, and that has a lot of implications. It means without homework, they'll learn better and faster, get better jobs, and contribute more to society. If this is what we want from the youth, then we need to get rid of homework.
So we must not want that from the youth then, huh? What do we want from the youth? Right?
Okay, so if we stop assigning homework, then another problem will arise. What if students aren't learning well enough at school? What if they need that additional practice at home? Well, that's why instead of giving homework, we need to replace it with home learn. There's a very good solution to all of this. We can possibly increase the IQ of the human species by 22.5 points.
Y'all hear that Persona music in the background?
If we implement this solution, so hear me out. This is something called the flipped classroom. Our current education system works like this. Students learn and take notes in class and go home to do their work. And I think we all can agree that this is garbage. The flipped classroom model does this in complete reverse. Students do the work in class and do the learning and note-taking at home. The teacher would record a lecture video and provide resources, like a packet with all the information and visuals needed. There are two reasons why this genius innovation will permanently fix mankind. 1. It is much better for students to do work in class rather than at home. If the student doesn't understand the information, the teacher is right there to help. 2. It's actually significantly more efficient.
Yo, I think he has a pretty interesting idea. It's just the music. Because I love Persona, y'all. I know we off topic, but it's distracting me. It's too good.
For a student to learn and take notes at home instead of in class, as they can learn at their own pace and can pause, rewind, and change the speed of the lecture video whenever they wish. You might be thinking, isn't that just homework? Well, not really. You're not doing any actual work. Just watching a few videos to grasp the core concepts. It's effortless. It's significantly easier and faster than doing actual homework. It's not homework, it's home learn. I've always had a very difficult time learning math. I struggled so much to understand the concepts and what my teachers wanted from me, and I would always get low scores on the tests. But then I took AP Calculus. I thought it was going to be brutal, but it was actually the easiest class I've ever taken. It was literally effortless. Why? Because my teacher used the flipped classroom approach. Every time I didn't know how to solve a problem, I just raised my hand, and the teacher helped me understand right away. And whenever the whole class did the problems together, it was so easy to ask my classmates for help and to pick up on other people's work. And the best part of it all was that the so-called homework was pretty much non-existent. I just watched her lecture video and took notes for like 15 minutes, and I was done. I didn't have to solve any math problems on my own. It was the most genius learning system that led me to getting a 5 on my AP exam.
And again, bro, I mean, this is a pretty cool idea. And there's a lot of different, I feel like there's a lot of different things that can be done to make homework not as painful as it is, bro. Like, we might not even need to go this far. Like we can just reshape homework assignments to make them apply to life, or to help us understand a valuable lesson. You know what I'm saying?
So hopefully we can get more
But the
teachers
home
to start
learn is
using this
pretty
approach.
cool.
Our school system is here to help students learn, not work. If students are spending more time working than actually learning, that's how you know our education system is failing. Homework is horrible for students and horrible for our lives. It's a complete waste of time, just like watching brain rot on your phone. Brain rot is a massive problem that's affecting more than just children. If you want to learn about the dangerous rise of brain rot for adults, then click right here. Making these videos is
Man, shout outs to Dumanity, bro. Great video right here, man. And I'll say this, bro. At least brain rot. At least I'm entertained. I'm wasting my time with entertainment. Homework, I'm wasting my time, and I'm gonna forget the material in 2 weeks. But as always, man, it's your boy TwoCentz. TCZ. We out.